Hi, welcome to Drinkosaurus, where we take ancient cocktail recipes into the modern era. My name is Matt, and let's begin consumption of alcohol. On today's episode, I do not have any plan in place. I'm going to let Jen pick out some random cocktail ingredients from my cocktail cupboard, and I will do my best to make a palatable cocktail from those and walk you through the process so you get a better sense of what my methods are for making my own cocktails. So to start, what we're going to do is cut to Jen. She's going to take out some ingredients, explain why she picked those ingredients, and then I will have to try to use as much of them as possible in adding some of my own ingredients to make a brand new, never before made cocktail. So let's bring in Jen and see what she picks.
Okay, let's see. Extra challenging. Okay, so I don't know exactly why I chose some of the things I did. I really don't know that much about alcohol. I'm usually just behind the camera doing my thing. I liked the sound of this one's fart.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's farted. And then I chose these bitters because they're blue. That seems like a good way to go about things. I chose 4 Roses Bourbon because my middle name is Rose, and that's it. That's the reason for that one. And then I just liked the font on this bottle. So you have Amaro, and this is another fun one to say. Sfumato. So we'll bring Matt back in, and he can kind of assess what I have given him, and we'll see how difficult it is to make a drink out of that.
Well, this is going to be difficult. Let me explain why. So the Sfumato Amaro is based off of rhubarb, so it's smoky and it's bitter, which I love. I love Amaro. You saw it in the Martinez variant one. Amaro is good. These are Transatlantic bitters. They're actually very new. I just bought them, and they have a very bitter Amaro flavor. So these two things work really well together. So I'm definitely going to use those two because that's easy. Where it gets a little bit more challenging is 4 Roses Bourbon. So bourbon is very sweet based on the fact that it's 51% corn for its mash bill. So sweet plus bitter, it's kind of tricky. And even more so, this is a blackberry or like black currant schnapps, which is very sweet and fruity, which doesn't go with anything. So probably if I were to kind of ditch one of the ingredients here, it would probably either be the bourbon or the blackberry schnapps or svart. But oof, I need to really decide what I'm going to do here because, yeah. Should I put pants on? I'm gonna ditch the black currant or blackberry schnapps because each of these are bitter, and bitter plus blackberry is not gonna work out too well. Okay, I have an idea, and I can substitute either the Aperol or the Amaro Nonino with this smoky one. But what I think I'm going to do is find something that'll complement the smoky. No, I need to keep it fruity. Ha! Do I want to use Campari? Is that gonna fuck things up? No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. I'm gonna use Campari. Okay, so I'm not 100% certain if these ingredients will work. The only 2 ingredients I added in were some Campari to add a little bit more bitterness to our cocktail, and also some lemon juice. The only reason I'm adding lemon juice is because the only cocktail recipe I can recall that mixes bourbon with Amaro is called the Paper Plane. It's a pretty good one, check it out. I'm going to start with our ingredients that Jen picked out, and then I'm going to try to decide if these 2 work well with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these 3 and get a taste for them, and I might change it completely, but I'm feeling pretty okay about this so far. So let's start with our main ingredients. Since we're going to be using bourbon as the spirit for this, I'm going to start with it first. I'm only going to use 3/4 of an ounce of it. We can add more if we need to, but we can't take any away. So I'm going to start conservative. And I actually only have so much of this, so we can only add so much. Thanks, Jen. Next, I'm going to move to the Sfumato Rabarbaro Amaro, which is great to say. Thanks, Jen. And I'm going to use a 1/2 ounce. Once again, I don't want it to be the same as our bourbon, but I also don't want to add too much that I can't take it out later. Next, I'm going to move to the Transatlantic bitters, which really have similar character to our Amaro. And I'm just going to add a few drops, knowing that I can add more later. I'm going to mix that together and just sample it just to see where we're at so far. You know, those ingredients on their own are actually pretty good. I think I'm probably going to ditch the lemon, which is unfortunate because I haven't made a drink with any sort of citrus yet. We'll get there soon, but I think lemon will just add way too many different flavors to this drink. I am going to stick with the Campari though. So let me clear out this lemon stuff and let's mix the Campari and then kind of tidy up our ingredients. Okay, so let's add in some Campari to add a bit more flavor complexity. Right now the drink is a little bit too much bitter and smoke, so this Campari will add some more herbal flavors to it. Once again, I'm only going to add a 1/2 ounce. Ooh, now it's red. Going to give it another taste. That's probably the perfect amount of Campari. We need a little bit more of the Amaro and a little bit more of the bourbon, and I think we'll be good to go. So let's add those in. I'm going to kick up the bourbon another 1/2 ounce, which I think will leave us at 1.25 ounces, which will give us a good alcohol content, actually. Let's just do the rest. Let's put it all in there. So that's probably about 1.5 ounces at this point. We originally had a 1/2 ounce of the Amaro. I don't want a full ounce. I want 3/4 of an ounce, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Do about that much. That is good. Finally, just add a little bit more of those bitters to make sure that flavor is not hidden. And I think at this point, our ratios are good. I think if my calculations are correct, we have 1.5 ounces of the bourbon, 3/4 of an ounce of the Sfumato Rabarbaro, a 1/2 ounce of the Campari, and about 2 dashes of our Transatlantic bitters. So let's add some ice, give it a mix, and give it a final taste. It's good. For this one, I'm going to serve it up in a coupe glass. Given that it's not super spirit forward, I don't need an ice cube in there to dilute it. So this glass will do good. Where's my strainer? Ah, here's my strainer. And let's pour it in. Ooh, that's kind of a nice color. It's like an amber color. And to garnish, check this out. I did want to use lemon originally, but we'll incorporate the lemon by garnishing it with a lemon. Here comes my favorite part. Ooh. How do you peel lemons? I'm so bad at peeling. We will express the lemon oils over there. Give it a little one of these. Give it a little curly Q. Put it in there. Pretend that looks nice. And we have our drink, which I don't know what to call it. It's called Amber is the color of our energy. And we're going to call it Amber is the color of our energy. And we're going to call it Amber. This is comedic gold, Jen. It's comedic amber. And this is called Amber is the color of our energy, because I'm told that's a song. Let's taste it and hope it tastes good. So I smell lemon. Wonder how that happened. It's because of the lemon peel. Let's see how it tastes though. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it would be that good. This is actually pretty okay. It's interesting. I need to taste it again to really kind of dissect it. It has a very perfume characteristic. I don't know where that's coming from. None of our ingredients are really perfumey, but I think the sweetness of the bourbon mixed with the bitterness is kind of creating that sense, and the Campari is just emphasizing it more. This is actually really interesting. It's really good. Yeah, it's a solid drink. I usually never mix with bourbon too often unless I'm making an old fashioned. The reason is bourbon is pretty sweet, and sometimes the sweetness of the bourbon does not mix well with other ingredients. But I'm actually going to write this one down because this is something I'd like to make again. Good choices, Jen. I believed in you from the start.
Well, this is going to be difficult.
I'm going to flip to a new page in my booze book. Let's write this one down. What did we call it?
Amber is the color of our energy. We did this together.
Oh, that's nice. So I found some Peychaud bitters, which have that sort of medicinal black licorice flavor. It's kind of uncouth to add ingredients after you mixed it, but let me put those in, give it a little mix, and see if this makes it better or ruins it. That, that mellowed out that sort of bitter flavor. You don't really taste the black licorice. It just sort of calmed the drink down a little bit, which might make it more palatable for other folks. So in this episode, I hope you got some insight on how I create different cocktails and kind of the thought processes I go through to balance the different flavors and the different levels of sweetness, acidity, and spirit in my drinks. Drinkosaurus is a production of Little Giant Monsters. If you have any future ideas for videos or any questions, or just want to say hello, or propose better names for drinks, please leave a comment and I will hope to use those for future videos. Little Giant Monsters can be found on a variety of social media platforms, which can be found in the description. We also have a Patreon, so please consider supporting us on there. That's all for today's video. Keep mixing. I'm so glad we're done here because I've had a little bit too many sips, folks. That's all for today's video. And remember, keep mixing responsibly and drink creatively. Bye!